A lot of people have this perception that having faith means never doubting God, never arguing, never having frustration with God. They think believers have zero complaints, zero doubts, zero frustrations. Through the lens of psychology, they often view religion as a coping mechanism, just a way for a person to not lose hope, a way for them to not have an existential crisis. So basically, they see you as someone who is choosing to be delusional because they are simply weaker than them. And what they fail to view it as is through the lens of systematic teaching that builds a foundation of morality for society. Of course, that I have doubts, annoyances, and frustrations with God. That's part of being human. That's what the ego is literally about. And we all have to consciously fight this. The ego refuses to accept things for how they are described in the Bible. It demands an illusion of control through disagreement, all to validate their life choices that lack collective moral responsibility. Let me explain further. When you reject an external moral standard, you fall directly into relative morality, which the ego loves. What it means is that everyone creates their own definitions of what a good person is, of how we should live life. And the problem is that when you defend a lack of moral structure and justify relative morality, you end up enabling the absolute worst in humanity. So people start creating their own moral systems and their own life definitions, essentially becoming their own gods. The most common result of this, the most glaring result of this, is transactional love. But historically, it's exactly how people like Hitler justify their actions. Essentially, Hitler created his own moral standard, his own moral foundation, his own definitions. And so millions of people agreed with him and caused violence. Faith in God isn't about understanding everything or having all the answers. It's about the understanding and the agreement of topics like why humans can be so evil and why God is the only external source of motivation to love unconditionally. Out of love for Him, out of fear for Him, and out of respect, all at once. If you really think about it, nothing in this world can compare to God as an external source for choosing collective love. I talk about this deeply in my upcoming book. At its core, when people truly understand Christianity and live by it, it results in statistics like Christians being among the highest demographic in humanitarian efforts, which again is not motivated by human egoic desire. It is motivated by God being an external source to motivate choosing collective love. So this lack of understanding and the basic stereotype that people project onto you based on your faith often reveals their own egoic mask. A passive sense of superiority, the fear of being wrong, the refusal to give up control, and the insistence that life shouldn't be about giving up your ego identity, even if that identity promotes the worst of humanity. A key warning sign of ego identity in a person is this Christian stereotype that they assume of you, that you claim to have all the answers. This stereotype triggers them because subconsciously they are avoiding this entire topic to protect their lifestyle from any shame or guilt. So therefore, what they do is that they view a Christian subconsciously as arrogant and a threat to their very existence. Because your faith is a walking reminder, a reminder they can't avoid simply because you exist. But they can't see it as a learning opportunity because they've already devalued you in their mind before you even say a word. Deep down, they are terrified of being wrong and having you disarm them with superior logic. So what they do is they resort to ridiculing the very concept of a supernatural entity. Saying jokes like, "Oh, you believe in a magical old man in the sky," while at the same time, they entirely miss the irony that existence itself and the very world we live in is supernatural. This is what they fail to see. So to dismiss it as silly just reveals an egoic fear, not a valid argument. I myself have directly told God multiple times in my lowest moments, why does it have to be this way? This is annoying. This seems unnecessary. This is unfair, God. And yet, at the end of the day, after years of being agnostic, I now recognize and can describe and can accept that I don't need to know it all. And I never will. So instead, I focus on what I can agree with God on. And what I agree with Him on is a lot. Above all, what I agree with Him on, I can control. What I disagree with Him on is redundant because I can't control it regardless. And I have no better alternative for the world. And the main thing I agree with Him is collective love, with Him as the external source of motivation and foundation that can't be replaced. Having a lifelong rebellion with God because you disagree with Him on things is essentially saying that if your ego disagrees with one thing, it has to discredit everything positive that He says. And that is the very definition of the ego at its worst. It insists it is superior, refusing to surrender and acknowledge that it doesn't understand everything, and it never will. And despite that being incredibly hard to accept, that surrender is necessary for true humility and love. Not just for you, not just for your loved ones, but for the world. All of this that I have explained is why the Bible mentions that children are the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Because while the adult ego adapts itself to building walls, the child's mind has a default setting to build bridges. Adults, through the continuous contamination of a strictly built ego identity, ruin this world, ruin love itself, because we drift from the default innocence of how we were born, which is a child's purity, humility, innocence, and willingness to learn without making everything an ego competition due to fear of their reality crumbling down if they're wrong. In the context of Christianity, part of faith is recognizing and coming to terms with the fact that we will always be children compared to an eternal God. So yes, the ego will never be a God. That was the lesson from Garden of Eden, from the very beginning of the Bible. I hope this video helps you. Much love and take care.